Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and welcome back to another weight loss video. Hope you enjoy. What is it about American food that makes people gain so much weight? I say this as someone who is American and has also lived in Western Europe and Southeast Asia. During my time teaching abroad, it was easy to be slim. For example, in Southeast Asia, I noticed their food used so much oil and they often fried things and ate rice with every meal. Despite that, I lost 12 pounds in a month when I first moved there without even trying. In Europe, I was eating gelato every day and drinking every weekend and still staying slim. In America, I came back from being abroad and I gained like 20 pounds, and I've tried everything to get them off. I also try to maintain high standards with my food, knowing how much American food can be processed, etc. I read all the labels, I shop exclusively at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, I go to the gym an hour a day, and I've hardly lost any body fat in the past 3 months. When I lived in Rome for 6 months, I came back 15 pounds lighter despite eating pizza, pasta, and gelato every day. I am convinced it was all the walking. Not having a car 6 feet from the front door and having to walk to my destination, or at least to the bus stop, did it for me. This was in 2005, so I didn't have a pedometer or a smartwatch, so I'm not sure how many steps I took each day. If I had to guess, it was at least 15,000. This is why getting more public transportation in US cities would be so good for obesity rates. It's something I'm super passionate about outside of my day job. If more people felt like they could bike to work or take a train or walk to the bus, we wouldn't be commuting in a car every day. Living abroad, you move more. You walk to every errand you need to run, or if you have a big errand day, you're taking a train to the center of town. Dang, I miss living in Berlin and Paris. Portion size. When I visited America, I could not finish a meal, and I'm a big eater. I think this is one of the answers most people don't realize is as obvious. I took a European friend who was visiting out for breakfast at a dinner near me, and she literally could not comprehend how large our portion sizes were. She said that what she ordered would count as 2 portions where she's from. I experienced this too. I lived in Germany for 4.5 years, walked or cycled everywhere, ate better, simply due to a lack of American junk food and fast food options, and I dropped 50 pounds without much effort. Moved back to the States and put on about 20 pounds. Maintained that for a few years, but then a series of depressive episodes resulted in much more weight gain. So now I'm starting at the beginning again. I'd move back in a heartbeat. I don't live in an area that allows for much walking outside of my residential neighborhood, and I don't feel as safe cycling here as I did there. Here, exercise has to be intentional, whereas in Germany, it was an essential part of my everyday life. It's got a lot more sugar in it. Lots of Australian snacks that we have here are made in a different way, with much more sugar and fat when sold in America. They taste nothing like the ones we have, so it doesn't surprise me that people gain more weight. I can have 2 biscuits as a snack and it maybe closes my deficit for the day, but doesn't go over or ruin it. If Americans have 2 biscuits of the exact same brand, but the American version, it's close to double the calories I would have had. It's pretty insane how they do it to make it more addictive, I guess. Portion size and frequency. Seriously, I had culture shock the first time I went to the US from Southeast Asia and we went out to eat. The amount of food that arrived on the plate was easily 3 to 4 times more than a normal portion I would have at home. The other thing that shocked me was the prevalence of sweet drinks and how frequently they were consumed. It seemed that every restaurant had free flow soda fountains, and people went refilling at least a couple times to get their money's worth. At their homes, people would still drink soda or juices instead of just water. Even normally sugar-free things like yogurt or tea had sugar or some sort of sweetener in it. Mind you, our food here in Southeast Asia is not exactly healthy either, but I think the ratio and frequency is the key difference. Lots and lots of processed food. This food has a boatload of added crap designed to make us even hungrier. So we eat more of it, and we buy more. Sugar is added to almost everything, in addition to artificial crap. This is becoming more common in other countries, but the US is still king. Processed foods in the US have more ingredients and added junk than their counterparts sold in other countries. A court in Ireland, for example, ruled that the bread served at Subway, the popular American sandwich chain, cannot legally even be considered bread because it contains so much sugar. In the US, Subway is touted as one of the healthier fast food chains. There are 19 ingredients in McDonald's fries in the US. 19. Fries should contain potatoes, oil, and salt. McDonald's fries sold in the UK only contain 5 because they don't allow the additional crap in them over there. We tend to supersize things, and we also have a lot of refined and processed food that is high in additives and low in nutrient density. All those things add up to eating more calories than we need. In addition to the supersizing, I wonder if other countries and cultures have the clean plate club, where as a child you're forced or coerced into finishing everything on your plate no matter how full you are. You learn to ignore all the signs that your body sends you telling you that you're full. Your body doesn't determine when you're full, the plate does. So no matter how much food you're given, you feel pressure to finish it all. Don't know if that's a thing everywhere else. It's just that every time I talk to someone about this, they've been American. It seems like people from other countries just stop eating when they're full, even if there's food left over. Food is plentiful and cheap, full of sugar, engineered for compulsive eating, and being thrust in your face 24 hours a day. In most countries, if you follow the normal everyday food culture, you will be reasonably healthy. In America, if you want to be healthy, you have to radically reject most of the food that is around you every day. I also taught in Asia, and I agree that it's easy to be trim there, even though I ate out for the majority of my meals. A huge thing for me was the lack of a car. I walked to and from work every single day, and I walked to get myself lunch. I didn't have a kitchen, so lots of times I'd just skip meals due to my laziness. The country was gorgeous. Most of my free time was spent exploring on foot, hiking, and swimming. I'm sedentary again now, and I've gained about 12 pounds since my return 6 years ago. Blah. In Thailand, I eat almost zero prepackaged foods. My fridge is stocked with vegetables and fruit that I buy in small portions as needed almost daily. When I eat out, almost daily, the portion sizes are 1/3 to 1/2 of the US sizes. Restaurants, street food, etc. are all mostly fresh. The only processed stuff you see is the Western food at crappy tourist spots. When I'm in the US, I buy some fruits and vegetables, but only grocery shop once a week tops. The fresh foods often spoil before I get to cook them. I end up eating mostly packaged food, deli meat, dairy, and leftovers from restaurants. Many restaurants lean heavily on Cisco processed foods. Walking 2K steps versus 10K steps per day is the equivalent of 1 pound of weight loss for my body. So theoretically, if you simply walked a little less in the tune of 6K steps, then you may probably gain some weight easily, on top of probably mindlessly eating. It wasn't really about the food when you were in Asia and Europe. You were also living in their culture and customs, which means you were eating at the same times they were, probably not snacking much like you do in America, and probably eating the same portions as them. 1 cup of rice looks like a massive serving, but in reality, it's only about 300 calories. Coupled with some quality meats and vegetables, you're looking at a 500-calorie meal that's going to leave you stuffed for hours. Unlike snacking on chips and cookies in America, that leaves you hungry every 45 minutes. I would heavily recommend you read or listen to the book, The Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan. He goes into detail about the sheer amount of crap in most American food and why, and was overall an interesting read. The short answer is, everything is extremely processed, and even the sources we get our food from have processed garbage in them. It's not just the Doritos or the cupcakes you see in the store either. Our culture of food processing and bad ingredients starts with the source, which plagues the organic and natural foods you may be buying. Portion sizes. I am a New Zealander who lives in Australia. My fiance and I have both been to the US, and holy cow, the portions are inordinately massive. We are both slim, but let me be clear, we also love our calorie-dense foods, pizza, alcohol, chocolate, etc., and we eat them regularly in moderate amounts. In the USA, when my fiance was there, he would order a salad and get the sauce on the side because otherwise it was drowning in sauce. Then eat half and eat the other half the next day. All meals were basically 2 meals, and he walked and cycled all over the place and still gained weight because he would eat more because it was available and it's so high in sugar, fat, etc. And he was on holiday too, so lots of food and drink in general, to be fair. Portion sizes, man, they're insane. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please tap subscribe to join our awesome community, the Narwhals, and for more weight loss stories that help you stay on track. And here's our featured Narwhal of the day. I haven't gotten this many steps in since like 3 years. Hope I can keep it up.